What's up, guys? We are at episode 22. We are getting very, very close to the end of the 2026 MLB Team Preview Series. We have reached the Baltimore Orioles. But first, shout out to our friends over at W Energy. They are sponsoring this video. Link is below. Use promo code BATBOY for 10% off. They got awesome hats. They got awesome drinks. They got grapefruit citrus hydration blends. That's my favorite flavor. The energy drinks are extremely smooth. They got everything you could think of when it comes to energy and hydration. Go check them out. Link is below. 10% off. Promo code BATBOY. Into the Orioles. 2025. They went 75-87, finishing 5th, dead last, in the AL East. Shockingly late appearance on this series for a last place team. However, that was a very disappointing 2025. The expectations were much higher for 2025. So, they were coming off back-to-back playoff appearances in 2023 and 24. However, they were swept in both years. 2023, they won the division and were swept by the Ultimate World Series winner in Texas. And then in 2024, they were swept in the wild card round by the Royals. Those are the only two playoff appearances they have since 2016, and they haven't won a playoff game since 2014. So they've had some success of late, but it hasn't translated into actual playoff success, and they've also had some very disappointing seasons. It's an interesting situation we got going on in Baltimore. Notable transactions. The big one. First baseman Pete Alonso signed for 5 years, $155 million. They also signed Chris Bassett, starting pitcher, 1 year, $18.5 million. Relief pitcher Ryan Helsley, 2 years, $28 million. Starting pitcher Zach Eflin re-signed for $10 million 1 year. Outfielder Leody Taveras signed for 1 year, $2 million. And they received starting pitcher Shane Baz from the Rays, outfielder Taylor Ward from the Angels, infielder Blaze Alexander from the Diamondbacks, relief pitcher Andrew Kittredge from the Cubs. A lot of additions. I love what this team did this offseason. We will get into that. They've lost starting pitchers Grayson Rodriguez to the Angels and Tomoyuki Sugano. We'll talk about him in a minute. Shortstop Jorge Mateo. Catcher Gary Sanchez. This is 2 episodes in the last 3 with a Gary Sanchez mention. I love it. Gary's my boy. No Gary slander allowed on this channel. They also lost relief pitcher Cade Stroud in the Blaze Alexander trade to Arizona. A lot of moves. A heavy net positive. I think this team is drastically better than it was last year. Injuries. Starting pitcher Zach Eflin had back surgery in August of 2025. He is questionable for opening day. Third baseman Jordan Westberg tore an elbow ligament. He is out until at least May. Second baseman Jackson Holliday. The infamous Hamat bone surgery trio of Lindor, Corbin Carroll, and Holliday. He is a part of that group. He's out until at least mid-April. And then a pair of relievers, Andrew Kittredge had shoulder problems. He's questionable for opening day. And Felix Bautista, who was the closer last year, tore his labrum in the shoulder in August. And he's questionable for this season in general. Some of those injuries are going to cause some problems should they linger. If they don't linger, it's not too big of a deal. But that kind of goes for every team. But the Westberg Holiday one is going to be interesting. Major storylines for 2026. Pete Alonso. Caveat, we'll talk about him soon. Samuel Basallo, the big, powerful 6'4" bodied catcher. Can't talk about Baltimore in 2026 without talking about Basallo. He's an elite power prospect from the catcher position. He's got a high walk rate, average K rate. His 2025 debut on offense was not very good. He only had 118 plate appearances. It's not a big sample size, but he hit 165 and had just a 55 weighted runs created number. That's extremely low. That means you're about half as good as the average player, which is bad. But it was a very small sample size. It was his first taste of major leagues. We'll throw that out for now. He's got a reputation for not being the greatest receiver of the ball. Really strong arm. He threw out nearly 40% of the base runners in his brief debut in Baltimore last season. But Adley Rutschman is the catcher. He got some reps at first in the minors. They got a first baseman now in Pete Alonso, so he's not going to play first. He's not going to play catcher. He's going to be the primary DH in 2026. And then figure out what's going on moving forward. He's a very good minor league hitter. Career 283, career 864 OPS with 70 home runs in 400 games, which is roughly equates to about 30 home runs per 162. He's got power. He's got pop. He's got pretty good plate discipline for someone as young as he is. And he plays a premier position. However, there's somebody already in that position right now, but they are going to get him in the lineup. He is too good to not be in the lineup. Who's playing right field? Currently, looks like it might be Dylan Beavers, might be Tyler O'Neill. The Taylor Ward addition means one of them is going to get pushed to the bench, since Taylor Ward will be your everyday left fielder. Tyler O'Neill was a big add going into 2025. He was horrible. 684 OPS with 91 weighted runs created and 209 plate appearances. Wasn't very good. He's been bad for Canada in the World Baseball Classic. He is just having a rough stretch in his career. Dylan Beavers will most likely get the most run, seeing as he's the high upside prospect, the shiny new toy. He had a phenomenal 2025 in Norfolk in AAA, hit 304 with a 935 OPS. He's got 2020 potential. He's a solid outfielder. 2025 debut with Baltimore was not bad. It was very small sample size again, but 77.5 OPS, 35 strikeouts to 26 walks. That's a very good ratio for someone getting their first taste of Major League Baseball. I think he's going to be really good. Will he start the season in right field? I hope so. I hope they take the Tyler O'Neill large sample size now that he's just not what he was. Let's go with Dylan Beavers, see what he's got. If not, Beavers, we got Enrique Bradfield Jr., who has been having a very good World Baseball Classic. Let him potentially be probably the center fielder in the future, and then you can move Kowser to right. How will they counteract the Jackson Holliday, Jordan Westburg injuries, as I mentioned a minute ago? Kobe Mayo should finally get his extended shot at third base. His major league at-bats have been mixed. He's got a low average, strikes out a bunch. He's got a lot of pop. He's having a really good spring training so far. Spring training, take it for what it's worth. But he's currently hitting 500 in 10 games, 13 for 26 with a 1.195 OPS. That is a astronomical number. Not sustainable. But 1 home run, 3 doubles, 10 RBIs in 10 games. Exit velo is popping off the charts. Every time he's making contact with the ball, it's over 100 miles an hour off the bat. He is striping the ball in spring training. Does have 3 errors already at third base. He's a first baseman naturally. Obviously, they don't need that. They need a third baseman with the Westburg injury. He's not going to play second to fill in for Holliday. That's not in his deck of cards. But he's probably going to be your opening day third baseman, so we need to tidy up that defense a little bit. Second base will probably be Blaze Alexander. That trade was timed much better than they could have hoped for because it came right before the Jackson Holliday injury. He's most likely going to take the second base reps while they wait for Holliday to come back. Very good defensively. Very average on offense. In 2025, he had a 95 OPS plus and a 99 weighted runs created plus. Very average. Minimal power, minimal speed, good defense. He's kind of a placeholder. You want him to be your backup utility infielder. That's what you want him to be. You don't want him to play 145 games. You want him to play 58 games around the infield, filling in for people. He can play some outfield too for giving people days off. Has the starting pitching improved enough to contend in a brutal AL East? Trevor Rogers last year was nearly perfect in his 18 games. 181 ERA, 223 ERA plus. It doesn't get any better. It's only a half a season for the most part, but that was excellent. You can't get any better than that. The rest of that rotation in 2025 was dog shit. Tomoyuki Sugano was a big Japanese signing going into the season. It did not work out. He was dominant in Japan. He was terrible in Baltimore. 87 ERA plus with a 6 strikeout per 9 innings. They were just hitting him really hard the whole season. It just wasn't. I don't know if he's not MLB material. I don't know. That's too early to be determined. Hopefully he can turn it around. Didn't work in Baltimore. Cade Povich, Charlie Morton, Zach Eflin, the rest of that rotation all finished with an ERA of 5.2 or above. It just was not. They were not good. Part of the reason why Grayson Rodriguez wasn't there for the most part, who was supposed to really be their ace, to be completely honest. It just didn't work out. Part of the probably the majority of the reason why they finished dead last in the AL East. This has to be the unit that improves the most for them to turn this around in 2026. Chris Bassett signing surely helps. He is good. ERA plus of 108 or better in 7 of his last 8 seasons. He's got experience in the AL East, which I know that sounds funny saying, but it matters because this is a historically dominant offensive division. He's got experience pitching in the AL East with Toronto for the last 3 years. They also added Shane Baz. He's not as good as Chris Bassett, but he should help some too. He was not great in 2025, but he had a very good 2024. Again, also has AL East experience, and he pitched for probably the worst offense in the AL East. So his divisional matchups were against all of the prolific offenses. Tampa Bay is generally not the offensive powerhouse that Boston, New York, Toronto, and Baltimore generally are. So having that experience helps. Player focus time. I didn't talk about Pete Alonso in the big storylines because he's probably one of the biggest storylines, but I wanted to talk about him here. This signing, I had a lot of mixed feelings about it. As a baseball fan, I loved it. I think this is a perfect place for him. As a Yankee fan, I hate it because now we got to face him 13 times. And it makes that lineup so dramatically better, it's crazy. That lineup needed Pete Alonso way more than Pete Alonso needed Baltimore. He wanted the money, but he didn't need Baltimore specifically. Baltimore needed Pete Alonso. In 2025, Baltimore had no hitters with more than 17 home runs. Alonso had 38, and that was low because his average over the course of his career is 42 per season, per 162, which is generally his season. In 2025, Baltimore had two offensive players who played more than 95 games. 95 games isn't asking a lot. And they had 2 offensive players play more than that. Pete Alonso played 162 games, 2 years in a row now. Hasn't missed a game since 2024, or 2023. He's played in at least 152 in every season he's been in the big leagues. 2020, except for 2020, because he only played 57 out of 60. That season was just weird. But they got a guy that's going to be out there every day and bring some power. That's exactly what they needed. One of those two players that played more than 95 games is already hurt, Jackson Holliday. The other one is Gunnar, who I absolutely love him. Along with Taylor Ward, Alonso is going to turn this lineup into a power threat that will actually give opposing pitchers some pause each and every night. They haven't had that. They haven't had that guy that terrifies you. Pete Alonso is a scary hitter. He's really good hitter. He's prolifically powerful. It's going to change everything for this lineup. And Taylor Ward is another one. He's going to threaten 40 home runs. Alonso's 162 game averages, 253 with an 857 OPS, 42 home runs, 114 RBIs, 135 OPS plus, and a 141 weighted runs created. Baltimore has dreamed of having a player like this. They have Gunnar. Don't get me wrong. Gunnar is probably a better all-around baseball player. One of the best in the business. Pete Alonso brings something that Gunnar doesn't. He brings fear into the pitcher. The power is undeniable. They needed that. You can hear it, how much I love this signing for Baltimore and how much I hate this signing for the Yankees. Also, and with those averages, he's moving from Citi Field, which is a gigantic ballpark, pitcher-friendly, to Camden Yards, which is a tiny ballpark, hitter-friendly. I would not be surprised to see him flirt with 60 multiple times as an Oriole. If I was his agent in his ear, I would say you need to finish your career in this ballpark because the numbers that you could put up over the course of the next 8 years, how was he, 30 years old-ish? Next 8 years could be astronomical in this ballpark. He can hit so many home runs in that field. 2026 outlook, I think they're going to be very much improved from 2025. That 2025 season was just, everything fell the wrong way. It was really nothing of that season that fell properly into place, and it was just a disaster from start to finish. The problem is Toronto got better. Boston got better. New York stayed the same, asterisk, question mark, depending on some of their injury. If Garrett Cole comes back and he's Garrett Cole, then New York got better. But they got some guys with some injuries. If those guys come back, it'll be like some signings. If not, then New York stayed the same, which was a 94-win team. Ultimately, I think they fall short of the playoffs. But I do believe they'll be in the wild card hunt deep into September. I think this is going to be a good team. I just think there's going to be so much beatings going around that division that it's just going to be hard for them to keep up with New York, Toronto, and Boston, as well as Detroit, Kansas City, as well as Texas and Houston. You got to compete with all of that, looking for 3 wildcard spots in one division. So you got 8 teams, and in their case, playing for 4 spots. It's going to be hard. But I do think they're going to be a lot better, and I think the future is bright, especially with guys like Basayo, and I think Enrique Bradfield Jr. is going to be electric when he gets to the league. But the division is brutal. It's a brutal, brutal division. That's all I got. Thank you guys for tuning in. I heavily appreciate it. Shout out to W Energy. Link is below. Use promo code BATBOY, get 10% off. We are back tomorrow with the Philadelphia Phillies. We only got 8 left. 8 left. We are getting into some big boys of Major League Baseball now. Thank you guys for tuning in. We'll see you guys tomorrow.